Here, today, we'll show you how to make simple, raw, and whole food meals for pets so they live happy, healthy, longer lives. Think feeding raw and whole foods to pets is rocket science? It doesn't have to be. It can be nutritious, affordable, homemade food for healthier pets using easy to follow recipes you probably are already cooking for yourself and your family at home. Feeding your dog whole food is a healthy move from a commercial dog food diet containing a host of artificial preservatives, additives, and a rendering process into non-human grade byproducts, which becomes a substantial part of their meal. This training is the real deal. Real results. This is Cooch, our sire of the kennel, not too fat or skinny, all muscle and lean like Bruce Lee. He was 2 years old when they took this picture, but he had smelly ears for the first couple years until we switched his diet off the kibble and onto whole and simple homemade foods. I found switching to a raw and whole food meal plan better than buying those bags of kibble at the vet. A noticeable change happened in my pet's health within the first week of stopping the kibble feed. Dana C., Calgary, Alberta. I add pumpkin and animal fats to convenient pre-ground tubes of crushed meat with bone and organs. I also add some nutritional supplements for pets, which are really just vitamins, minerals, amino acids, omega-369s, and cold water fish oil. Daniel A., Montana, USA. I used fruits and veggies from our refrigerator, which lowered the cost of the raw and whole food ingredients. We were already buying them for ourselves, but never thought of adding it to the dog's diet. It was so cheap, it was just like setting another place at the table. Carmen S., Winnipeg, Manitoba. This will not be like any other webinar you've ever attended. What you're going to see, I'm going to reveal to you the simple system I use to change my pet's food to a healthier, more biological, species-appropriate, raw and whole food diet. We'll show you reliable educational videos, easy to implement instructions, and how to find supplement resources. Making this change has allowed my adult dogs and puppies to heal with diet changes from our smart food choices, live disease-free years longer, enjoy more energy and vitality all day, every day, endure less veterinary visits due to illness, have improved quality of life while not being overweight. When 2 pups came up lame after first shots at 7 weeks old, I knew not to give up, thanks to the coaching I had received. Instead, I gathered my resources and immediately began a raw and whole food meal plan with the added supplements without any further hesitation. And within days, the pups had healed completely. I'm a firm believer in healing with food now. Karen M., Tappan, BC. Today, you will learn how to heal your pet utilizing a real whole food diet, even if you think it will cost you more money for food, you think it will take more time for preparation, you think it's too hard to learn to feed whole foods, you think it won't help, and that your pet is too sick. If you stay until the end, I'm giving this away for free for all today's attendees. The Real Food for Pets coaching programs, Fresh Food for Pets List 2020, and our Healthy Pups Whole Food Meal Plan Starter Guide. It takes the guesswork out of, well, where do I start? More instant value than any other webinar, period. This is my guru. Dr. Karen Becker says, species-appropriate food for pets. Let's listen.
Hi, and welcome to Mercola Healthy Pets. I'm Dr. Karen Becker. I'm a companion animal veterinarian and a consulting vet for Dr. Mercola. Our goal is to bring you and other pet lovers a truly unique and important online pet health resource. My goal here at Mercola Healthy Pets is to empower you to become an informed advocate for the animals in your care. The videos, articles, and other resources you'll find here are designed to help you intentionally create abundant health in your pet. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised and excited to learn how small, simple, and oftentimes inexpensive lifestyle changes can make in terms of creating such a huge difference in your animal's quality of life. I'm a proactive, integrative wellness doctor. So proactive medicine focuses on identifying and correcting lifestyle obstacles, including environmental and medical risks, as well as nutrition and exercise pitfalls, long before they create disease in your beloveds. This is an entirely 180 approach from conventional medicine, which is reactive. In a reactive health model, we wait for disease to occur and then reactively treat the symptoms. But oftentimes, disease wins because it was addressed too late, after the body actually broke beyond repair. My goal as a proactive functional medicine practitioner is to intentionally create resiliency in an animal's body to actually delay the onset of degenerative disease and, as pets age, identify changes early enough in their bodies to actually effectively address them. Integrative medicine recognizes that there's not a singular path to healing. One of the reasons you'll see me discuss so many different treatment options and modalities and different lifestyle approaches here is that there's actually no one way for the body to heal. And learning what mechanisms unlock the healing potential in your particular animal's body is very important, actually vital, in terms of intentionally creating health. Wellness medicine is a brand new concept in veterinary practice. Wellness is not just the absence of disease, it's actually recognizing that we can make intentional lifestyle choices on a daily basis that ultimately create abundant health. So my goal here is to extend health span and lifespan of companion animals by helping pet parents make well-informed decisions. I'm a licensed doctor of veterinary medicine, but I'm also certified in veterinary acupuncture, homeopathy, and rehabilitation, which is basically physical therapy for pets. In practice, I integrate functional medicine with nutritional therapy and a wide variety of innovative modalities to improve and enhance the health of my patients.
This webinar will set a new standard in transparency, authenticity, and value. I believe in extreme authenticity, and I'm going to tell you exactly like it is from my own experience. Results are not guaranteed. If you're looking for an easy fix, a lazy way, immediate results, this isn't how this simple system works. I can help you with a reliable knowledge base, directions for preparing meals, but everybody that's succeeded has learned to use the raw and whole food servings calculations to change their pet's health for the better. We used a diet calculator, a food scale, and a good meal plan choosing human-grade raw and whole foods. These are some of your free bonus resources at the end. Extreme authenticity. In other words, you will only succeed if you understand how a species-appropriate meal plan works to help optimize pet health, and then follow through in implementing the raw and whole food meal plans and adding supplements. Every single claim in this webinar is backed up with actual testimonials of helpful gains. This training and the bonus resources at the end are 100% free to help you. However, you will have the option to work with me personally at the end of the webinar if you'd like to. My goal for this webinar is to provide you with everything you need to know so that you can confidently stop feeding killer kibble that's infecting your beloved pets with lymphomas, mast cell cancers, tumors, disease, euthanasia drugs used to put your pets to sleep, processed meat byproducts, which are just your pets, roadkill, and dead farm animals, salmonella from handling, shipping, sitting, waiting for purchase, opening, and rancidity. Trans fats from extreme heat processing for days. Is this a natural diet for pet food? Pets are dying faster annually as vets see a shocking rise in numbers of cancers and diabetes. My goal for this webinar is to provide you with everything you need to know so that you can easily learn to utilize a biologically appropriate raw and whole food diet and realize benefits from healthy food sources so you can enjoy your pets years longer than with the cancers that are happening with the commercial dog food choices today. Even those top brands you can buy from your trusted veterinarian's office. Thank you so much for the helpful advice to switch to a holistic vet and a raw and whole food species appropriate diet when Groot was diagnosed with lymphomas after we had fed him Origin kibble for his entire 2 years of life. V&S, United Kingdom. There are 4 things we're going to cover that you will agree is a healthier choice for feeding your pet when considering a raw and whole food diet compared to commercially processed bags of kibble. The 4 secrets that we're going to cover: truth about pet food, the recalls and euthanasia drugs, how pets are dying faster from cancers eating commercially heat processed kibble foods, finding reputable raw food and supplement suppliers, and finally CBD oil for pets, education, suppliers, and support. Who's this information for? First, pet parents wanting an alternative to a commercially prepared kibble diet. Pet parents seeking reliable education on developments in the pet food industry. Pet parents seeking remedies for diet-related cancers or disease in current pets. Parents seeking supplements and CBD oil natural alternatives to the pharmaceuticals that they're being prescribed by the conventional vet system. People seeking answers to what may have happened to pets who passed too early. People who want to research raw food diets to confirm if it does reverse illness. So why should you listen to me in the first place? Here's a brief introduction. I'm Karen Mack from K Kennels. We have a website, we're on Facebook. We breed Rottweilers and Maine Coon cats. Homemade raw and whole food diet for the past couple years. We started out on kibble, which is why I believe Kayla has those marks on her legs. She keeps chewing. Since we started the CBD oil, she's stopped chewing them. Reliable resources and research, factual information from experience, and real healing with whole foods education. I've spent years researching the most effective ways to help my pets live disease-free longer. Do you wonder why no one's funding raw food research? Because you can't make money off the prescriptions. I've spent years locating the most trusted sources of independent information. That's Kayla with her last litter of pups, all tails on. They're so funny. I have gone to a local pet place to find my tubes of raw fed meat, but the warning on that is that just using that kind of meat, they actually thin out too much and it's almost like you're starving them to death. So we had to go back to adding cooked hamburger, some rice and veggies and what else to it with the supplements in order to reverse the starving effect. The raw meaty bones. The marrow inside those bones is very vital to what every pet needs in the dog species to make their bones and body organs, everything function properly. And the last example is mixing up and premix of what it looks like before I feed the pups. And we use Carnivora for our supplements because they are a highly researched source of information. And there's always someone there on the phone when you've got a question. I highly recommend them. Being able to feed a biologically species-appropriate homemade raw and whole food meal plan has allowed me to become more confident with the research now available to pet parents that was kept hidden by commercial pet food regulators for their own sales profits. AVCO is the wolf guarding the hen house when they have no ability to make any changes. It's allowed me to know that I'm doing the very best I can to ensure my pets' continued good health from the food I am feeding them, using the most reputable holistic veterinary advice on appropriate foods, researched sources, and studies into raw food diet health and foods that are healing. Has allowed me to become more confident that I'm not missing or omitting anything important in their diet, such as those mysterious supplements that are required, in addition to cooking for your pets or feeding them a raw food diet, such as fats, amino acids, vitamins, minerals, and those omega-369s. Has allowed me to know that my raw-fed dog will live with less disease, years longer, than a kibble-fed dog, with less vet bills and pills. We live in a time where this is possible for anyone. Everybody has access to the same resources in print and digital media these days. If there's a butcher for bones, a gardener, a grocery store, if you can Google a reputable raw food and supplement supplier, you can do this. In my opinion, there's no greater opportunity to get properly educated about healthy species appropriate food for your pets than what I will present to you in this webinar. Aren't we, as parents, already doing this for our own kids? I will show you that lack of initial education and preparation instructions is really the only thing holding you back from making a healthier food choice for your pets and giving you the peace of mind that you are in control of the safety of what they eat and ultimately their own disease prevention. Homemade and raw feeding your pets has become the new standard of practice, replacing processed commercial kibble as the more species appropriate consumer choice. You must act now. Every day you continue in good faith and blind brand loyalty feeding your pet a heat processed meat byproduct kibble with trans fats turning rancid shortly after convenient bag opening. Aren't you responsible for how their health progresses and how long they live disease free? Would you, with a clear conscience, continue to poison your pet through food you now know will lead them ultimately into disease and a faster, painful death? Moving to a more natural, species-appropriate raw food diet can reverse the effects of some cancers and diseases that can be affected by foods that heal. Becoming educated has never been easier when seeking reliable, holistic veterinary advice from trusted sources that have done the research for you and have years of knowledge and experience with results for your benefit. Waiting to make a change only prolongs exposure to the kibble toxins. Benefits show up so quickly in pets, you wonder if it works on humans too. So, what exactly is a homemade raw and whole food diet? The species appropriate diet is targeted to a biologically appropriate food source, using calculated serving sizes of fresh, whole, raw, cooked, and natural ingredients, including fruits and veggies, to introduce the food healing effect. Most nutrients are in whole food form with some insufficiencies, where supplements ensure important amino acids, vitamins, and minerals, omega-3 6-9s, and other species-specific requirements, such as taurine, are included in the diet. Examples: tubes of raw crushed meats such as chicken, turkey, or duck with 10% bone, 10% organs from local suppliers. Whole fresh fruits and vegetables from garden or grocery such as blueberries, apples, and broccoli. Raw, meaty marrow bones from a butcher is also a natural toothbrush for the dogs. Save your money on those fancy, here's how to brush your dog's teeth. Oh my gosh. Cooked rice, squash, pumpkin, sweet potatoes, carrots. Supplements including fish oils, omega-3 6-9, amino acids, vitamins and minerals, taurine, etc. Why homemade raw and whole food diet? Remember a time before commercially bagged kibble was the only nutrition choice for pet food consumers, and every pet ate a whole fresh or raw food diet? No? Ask your parents or grandparents. Remember when pets didn't get sick from eating table scraps and people food, like they are now getting cancers from commercially processed bags of kibble in record numbers because we're advised to feed only that to our pets? Having the knowledge to make healthy choices for your pets and research showing you a change is for the better puts the power of choices back into your hands. Learning healthy food choices and serving sizes for your pets rubs off on you, and all will want to live disease-free longer, and that will be the opposite of what government and corporations wanted for you. This is the best diet your pets will ever eat to achieve good health and vitality. This meal plan has the highest potential to save your pets' lives, and it's recyclable. So how does it work? Generally, a species-appropriate raw and whole food diet consists of high-quality, hormone and antibiotic-free meat, raw bones, or some other source of calcium such as bone meal or a calcium supplement, organs, vegetables, and fruit. You can also add a small amount of carbohydrates such as rice or potatoes, but as carnivores, they don't really need it. Dogs and cats are not efficient at digesting, assimilating, and utilizing plant-based ingredients as a source of high-quality protein. But just mixing meat, rice, and vegetables is not a balanced diet. If preparing food is not a viable option, there are prepared, raw, and cooked foods that are nutritionally complete. All you do is thaw and feed. There are also premixes that, when added to meat, either raw or cooked, provide a balanced and complete meal. Also available is freeze-dried foods for pets. So how does it work? Raw means the food is unadulterated and still contains all the enzymes and nutrients that are typically destroyed during cooking or other types of processing. Homemade is the best option because you're in complete control of the quality of ingredients in your pet's diet. I recommend plenty of nutritional variety and seasonal fruits and veggies, as well as protein sources, meats, and use them in moderation, in rotation, with variation, just like when feeding a ketogenic diet. Definition of a ketogenic diet. A ketogenic diet is one that is high in fat, adequate in protein, and low in carbs, carbohydrates. When non-fibrous carbs are significantly reduced, protein is moderate, and dietary fat is increased, the body will naturally switch its primary fuel source from carbohydrates to fat. Once a person or dog begins using fat for fuel instead of glucose, which is sugar, the liver breaks down those fats into ketone bodies, which are then used for energy by tissues throughout the body, physically switching from making fat to burning it. This process induces a healthy metabolic state called ketosis, and we got that from the Pet Parent's Guide to the Ketogenic Diet. Starving cancer with ketosis. What is ketosis? In the modern canine diet, the dominant fuel for the body is sugar, glucose metabolized from carbohydrates. To survive in varied conditions, all living beings are physiologically adapted to use more than one form of fuel, glucose and ketones. During fasting, starvation, vigorous exercise, and caloric restriction, when blood glucose is low, the metabolism naturally shifts towards the breakdown of fat into usable energy called ketone bodies or ketones. This fat can be derived directly from the diet or adipose tissue stored throughout the body, aka body fat. The lowering of glucose plus the elevation of ketones in the blood produces the healthy and natural metabolic state called ketosis. It was once believed that dogs could not achieve ketosis. However, modern research shows that dogs do enter ketosis, though it may take longer to achieve. Blood glucose levels tend to lower at the same rate as humans on the diet. However, blood ketone levels do not elevate as high in dogs compared to humans. Just one life-changing decision away from escaping all that guilty feeling knowing that every time you pour processed kibble into their bowl, you are feeding them unregulated ingredients, which has caused cancers, tumors, and contained euthanasia drugs from pets used for rendering into meat byproducts, which is your basic ingredient in any brand commercial pet food, canned or kibble, and has shortened their life substantially, causing excessive end-of-life vet bills, heartache, and memories. Real food results. K-Kennels. These are pictures of Kayla before and after her healthy weight loss from changing to a species-appropriate diet and her health transformation. She's had 3 litters, she's 5 years old in 2020. Kayla was developing sores on her lower hind legs that bled and refused to completely heal from eating only a bagged kibble diet, origin, and pedigree. Vet said, "It's a callus from laying on the floor." And I said, "But they keep multiplying all over her legs." Once we had her on a species-appropriate diet, they stopped bleeding and slowly started healing. Lately, we've been using CBD oil to assist with the healing process because she keeps reopening them. We need your attention, please. Turn off your cell phones, turn off Facebook, take notes, get ready for a pure value webinar. Secret number 1. How do you get reliable information about your pet food choices? From independent researchers. Let's listen.
First ingredient, ground yellow corn, chicken byproduct meal, corn gluten meal. Although this food really looks to be beautiful and something you'd be interested in nourishing your pet with, my recommendation is to avoid it.
The pet food industry is telling us what to feed our pets It's really more based on what they want to sell us than what's necessarily good for the pet. So no corn, no wheat, no soy. After many years of R&D, we have found that corn is still the best available source of carbohydrate. Those are the things that cause overweight, diabetes, arthritis, chronic skin infections, allergies. Corn and wheat have become so subsidized and so cheap. It's a super cheap way to make a food for somebody who can't say no.
More than 60 million packages were taken off store shelves last month because they apparently contained wheat gluten that was tainted with the chemical melamine.
They thought they were purchasing a certain protein product called wheat gluten, when in fact they were buying wheat flour that had been laced with cyanuric acid and melamine in order to pass it off as wheat gluten.
That was a betrayal of trust.
They don't care about me. They care about my money.
You have well-meaning, lovely veterinarians recommending foods not because they have sound nutritional background, but because that's all that they know. And in 100 years' time, we have successfully convinced an entire generation of pet lovers that why would you feed anything but dog food or cat food?
So who can you trust? The truth about pet food. When Sam was 8 years old, I noticed a lump on her pelvic area. It was bone cancer. The worst news was the veterinarian I had known and trusted since I was a child told me the probable cause of Sam's cancer was from the chemical preservatives in her food. The food that I fed her. Dr. Catlett told me that these chemical preservatives were, and still are, added to pet foods to extend their shelf life and keep them fresh for longer periods of time for retail purposes, up to 25 years. The chemical that killed Sam was ethoxyquin, and it is still commonly used in many dog, cat, and pet food treats. This dog food brand was the #1 pet food in the US, a trusted company, and is still one of the top pet food companies today. Although they no longer use ethoxyquin in their food processing, they use many disease-causing ingredients, including dangerous chemicals. Sam's death changed me forever. From that day forward, I have studied pet foods, pet food ingredients, and the regulations that govern them. In 2006, I started Truth About Pet Food, hoping to share information I learned about pet food with others. From Susan Thixton, the Caped Crusader for Safe Pet Food. But truthaboutpetfood.com isn't just one person. It's thousands of people who work together helping to make pet food safe. The brightest veterinarians and scientists, alongside of thousands of determined petsumers. We are all part of the truthaboutpetfood.com team. Truth About Pet Food. Partial recall list 2017 and 2019. Notice a lot of the famous names in there. Notice the dangerous excess vitamin D, the listeria, that it's in pig ear dog treats. There's salmonella, more pig ear dog treats, and then the famous pentobarbital. There's metal pieces in one, thyroid hormones, and again pentobarbital, which can cause death when used in high doses. It's used for euthanasia for humans as well as animals. It is also used by itself or in combination with complementary agents such as phenytoin in commercial animal euthanasia injectable solutions. Even veterinarians aren't taught species-appropriate pet foods and healing unless they attend veterinary school an extra 2 years. Just prescribing pharmaceuticals is only a band-aid, right? Addressing the symptoms, but not the cause. Are veterinarians just relying on the pet food manufacturers' health claims, as all pet parents are, without actually researching the reliability of the foods they're selling from their clinics to their pet parents and patients? Yes, they are. Is this also how they are prescribing the pharmaceuticals for your pets too? Yes, it is. What was a species-appropriate diet before commercial kibble came along? Dogs are considered to be omnivores with a carnivorous bias. They have managed to adapt over thousands of years to survive on the meat and non-meat scraps and leftovers of human existence and thrive on a variety of foods, with studies suggesting dogs have the ability to digest carbohydrates easily. They have sharp pointed teeth, and the shorter gastrointestinal tracts of carnivores are better suited for the consumption of meat than of vegetable substances, yet also have 10 genes that are responsible for starch and glucose digestion, as well as the ability to produce amylase, an enzyme that functions to break down carbohydrates into simple sugars, something that carnivores lack. What was considered pet food before kibble was produced commercially? In France, the word pâté began to appear in the 18th century and referred to a paste originally given to poultry. In 1756, a dictionary indicates it was made of a mixture of breadcrumbs and little pieces of meat given to pets. In 1781, an encyclopedia mentioned an earlier practice of removing the liver, heart, and blood of a downed stag and mixing it with milk, cheese, bread, and then giving it to dogs. In 1833, the Complete Farrier gave similar but far more extensive advice on feeding dogs. The dog is neither wholly carnivorous nor wholly herbivorous, but of a mixed kind and can receive nourishment from either flesh or vegetables. A mixture of both is therefore his proper food, but of the former he requires a greater portion, and this portion should always be determined by his bodily exertions. An electrician invented kibble. It was not until the mid-1800s that the world saw its first food made specifically for dogs. An American electrician, James Spratt, concocted the first dog treat. Living in London at the time, he witnessed dogs around a shipyard eating scraps of discarded biscuits called hardtack. Shortly thereafter, he introduced his dog food made up of wheat meals, vegetables, and meat. By 1890, production had begun in the United States and become known as Spratt's Patent Limited. What's allowed in processed pet kibble? According to the Association of American Feed Control Officials, AFCO, animal byproducts in pet food may also include parts obtained from any animals that have been euthanized or died from sickness or disease, provided they are rendered in accordance to law. Cow brains and spinal cords not allowed for human consumption under Federal Regulation 21 CFR 589.2000 due to the possibility of transmission of BSE are allowed to be included in pet food, which is intended for non-ruminant animals. In 2003, the AVMA speculated changes might be made to animal feed regulations to ban materials from 4D animals, those who enter the food chain as dead, dying, diseased, or disabled. In the United States alone, the dog food market is expected to reach $23.3 billion by 2022. Commercial kibble, rendering big business. Canned horse meat was introduced in the United States under the Kennel Ration brand after World War I to dispose of deceased horses. The 1930s saw the introduction of canned cat food and dry meat meal dog food by the Gaines Food Company. Remember those round patties wrapped in cellophane called Gainesburgers? By the time World War II ended, pet food sales had reached 200 million. In the 1950s, Spratt's became part of General Mills. For companies such as Nabisco, Quaker Oats, and General Foods, pet food represented an opportunity to market byproducts as a profitable source of income. Rendering had become big business. How is commercial kibble processed? To make dog kibble, a process known as extrusion is done. A simple extruder consists of a barrel, helical screws, and a die, a tool to cut and shape the food. Feed ingredients are solid at room temperature. Therefore, the extrusion process of these ingredients requires a temperature above 100 degrees Celsius achieved by the use of steam, hot water, or other heat sources in order to soften or melt the mixture and allow for fluidity through the barrel. During the extrusion process, the high amounts of pressure applied to the mixture forces it to enter through the die before exiting the extruder completely, where it is cut to its desired size by a rotating fly knife. Unfortunately, the extrusion process actually denatures some of the nutritional elements of the food. Taurine deficiency has been found in dogs and cats fed extruded commercial diets. Not usually considered an essential nutrient for dogs, taurine is plentiful in most whole meats, whether raw or cooked, but is reduced in extruded diets. Taurine deficiency could also be due to the use of rendered, highly processed meat sources that are low in taurine. Regardless of the cause, taurine is now artificially supplemented back into the diet after processing in the production of most commercial pet food. The current old way: commercially heat processed, dry, bagged, and wet canned pet food. Sick, cancerous, dead, and euthanized pets, decomposing animals from the farm, and roadkill are brought for processing to a rendering plant to make their meat byproduct, which is then sold to many pet food manufacturing companies. Extreme heat processing for days, ultimately producing dangerous trans fats. Diseases and drugs infect the processed food, harming pets at a cellular level. Bagged kibble turns rancid within days of oxygen contact upon opening. Health problems from feeding a kibble diet has shown up as early as 3 months, and long-term effects are painful, fatal, and heartbreaking for both pet and owner. Can you imagine waking up and looking at your dog one day and he's filled with lumps just under the skin all over his body? That's lymphomas. That's the cellular level that this processed food is attacking your pets at. The new way: creating meal plans using homemade raw and whole food recipes with supplements that are biologically species appropriate, is so simple. And these are my go-tos: Dr. Becker's Real Food for Healthy Dogs and Cats, Simple Homemade Food, and the Raw and Natural Nutrition for Dogs book.
Hey guys, pet nutrition blogger Rodney Habib. So here I am just working on my blog, minding my own business, listening to my Will Smith CD, when all of a sudden I started to get tagged in on all these conversations that were happening on one of my blogs about the benefits of adding vegetables into your animals' diets. Hopefully it's inspiring a lot of pet parents around the world to add a little bit of fresh to process. Now the second I wrote this blog, it brought out almost every single veterinarian nutritionist on the planet. You see, there was a study that was done on Scottish Terriers, cancer, and vegetables. So as your friendly neighborhood blogger, I thought I would relay that back to parents because it's important information. However, the veterinary nutritionists of the world took offense to it. And so did a lot of other self-proclaimed experts. I mean, we had almost every single self-proclaimed expert in the world chime in and give their 2 cents worth. No, seriously, you forced me to make this video. We had people claim that they were experts, but when I checked for the degree, I couldn't find it. Professors from universities, physics teachers who thought they would chime in, people from Caesar Milan's camp who thought they were experts. We even had animal nutrition experts from Denmark who said feeding vegetables was wrong. Nobody agreed with feeding fresh food. Now I get it. All of you out there might have your own site. Maybe they're not doing so well, and so come on over to my page where there's some traffic and hopefully lure traffic over to your page. So there's been a brigade of veterinarian nutritionists that want to come onto my page and give their 2 cents worth. I'm a veterinarian nutritionist. I know, don't you dare feed your animal fresh food. This is ridiculous. Please feed your animals processed food because it's better. Seriously, you forced me to make this video. Now let's go back to the giant elephant in the room and back to the veterinarian nutritionists who feel that they need to comment all over my page on feeding animals fresh food. I get it. We have the word balanced. I'm on board with you. If you want to feed fresh food, make sure that you have a balanced overall diet. Okay, 100% agreed. But when you come on and then you tell pet parents of the world that eating processed food is scientifically balanced and safe and better, I have to step in. No, really, you forced me to make this video. So here's the deal. The first question a lot of you might ask is, what the heck is a veterinary nutritionist? If you head on over to my BFF site, Dr. Karen Becker, she has a nice article to explain exactly what a veterinary nutritionist is. But if I had to sum it up for you very quickly, veterinary nutritionists are vets that go back to school for an extra couple of years and get their education on nutrition. But there's a little bit of a catch. You see, research has it that these kids, when they're in school, are funded by pet food manufacturers who help pay their tuition. So of course, if somebody pays your schooling bills, you're kind of going to be loyal to them. Bam. 93 veterinary nutritionists on the planet. Over 90% of you work for big pet food manufacturers like Mars and Nestle and Colgate-Palmolive and the rest of them. Of course, your opinions are going to be biased, and you are not going to be recommending fresh food. That might cut your chances of getting that raise. For those of you that don't know what a veterinary nutritionist is, there's kind of a definition. For the ones who are studying to become a veterinary nutritionist, or the other 93 of you that are out there, from a pet parent to the veterinary nutritionists of the world, or those studying to become one, please, somebody study and be an unbiased veterinary nutritionist, working on your own and defending fresh food. Otherwise, there's going to be people like myself who are going to come out and speak up. Now, for the ones out there that were claiming they were veterinary nutritionists, 6,000. First of all, there is this wonderful site called the American College of Veterinary Nutrition. Unfortunately, it is difficult to lie and say that you're a veterinary nutritionist because all we have to do as the general public is go into the search area, the directory, and search your name. Now, here's the thing that I get a kick of. We know that there are only 93 veterinary nutritionists certified and accredited around the world. So that is going to take out 5,907 of you that are not veterinary nutritionists. Seriously, you forced me to make this video. The moral of the story is here, folks, that if somebody's going to try to convince you that putting fresh food into a bowl of processed food is a bad idea and it's going to hurt your pets, they may have rocks in their head.
Secret number 2. Reliable information from holistic veterinarians. Dog Cancer Series, Mercola Healthy Pets, Dr. Karen Becker. Starving cancer with ketosis.
We're in the middle of a worldwide epidemic. An epidemic of unknown proportions.
What your body uses for fuel is incredibly important for managing disorders like cancer.
We encourage extremely narrow research. Just look at it, one gene, one pathway, and we know this doesn't work.
So about 16 months ago, I noticed a cough with Parker. It was discovered he had a lesion in his lung, which was pulmonary carcinoma.
The diagnosis hits you like a freight train, and most of the time you feel like there's nothing you can do.
At that point, we were given approximately 2 to 3 months. I thought, Parker's going to die, and what have I done wrong?
Dogs have a different diet than what's currently being advertised and employed.
We didn't do this throughout our life, throughout history, throughout generations. We did not have the same diet.
In the last 100 years, we've entirely changed a dog's food pyramid.
Little did I know, the fact of what I was feeding him probably was the part that was harming him.
Your typical standard diet, which includes pets, is predominantly carbohydrate driven.
We know that grain-based pet food is dirt cheap, but the companies that sell this pet food make much larger margins and profit.
We did not have the same diet that we have now, and we did not have the same problems that we have now.
We're going to beat this. We're going to do this, and we are going to beat this with diet.
There's no doubt that the therapeutic effects of this diet are profound.
And now we have a means of starving cancer.
It was almost within a month, this diet was taking hold. But then the second month came. My vet looked at me and said, whatever you're doing, keep it going. And the third month happened. And we did a thoracic scan to see if the cancer had metastasized. Cancer-free.
Nutrition is a really big hammer, we say, to correct a whole range of pathologies.
We can do this with dogs. Why can't we do it for me, you, and anyone else who may face this down the road?
And now we can. And
we will.
Dr. Karen Becker's Real Food for Healthy Dogs and Cats. Simple homemade food. My Bible of whole fresh food feeding.
So recently I conducted this poll.
what would prevent you from making a fresh meal for your dog at home?
When the results from the poll came back, the biggest piece to the puzzle was
Making sure that you have a balanced recipe.
people were terrified of not getting it right.
Second biggest issue we see is people don't have time. They think it's really complicated, or that you have to buy a lot of supplements to help balance the diet.
That saddens me. It saddens me because I know that balancing foods for ourselves and for our pets isn't really that complicated.
Most people say they want a really easy recipe, so we put together a nutritionally complete recipe that'll meet all your healthy adult dog's nutritional needs.
That would be fully balanced, that you'd be able to get in your car
to your local grocery store and find the ingredients there to help inspire you to want to research more.
All right, let's get started. Now grab a bowl. For you foodies out there, just take a look at the center of the screen. But for you nutrition buffs who want to check out what's under the hood of these foods, take a look at the side panels. Grab 14 ounces of ground beef. That you can find in your local grocery store really easy.
Everything in red is deficient, but it has to be lean ground beef. Dogs have a really high amino acid requirement.
Next, grab 2 teaspoons of hemp seed oil or 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds.
This balances the fats.
Now add half a teaspoon of Carlson's cod liver oil or half a can of sardines.
That meets vitamin D and E requirements. Now add half a teaspoon of ginger,
which is packed with ligament-supporting manganese.
Next comes kelp.
This little green monster is packed with iodine.
Let's supercharge it with 1 egg.
But hold on to half of that shell. 30 seconds in and halfway done. Now grab that eggshell.
Ground eggshell meets calcium requirements for adult dogs,
but not for puppies.
Liver provides copper, zinc, and iron. Veggies add antioxidants, phytonutrients, and enzymes.
And fiber.
And voila! You have a balanced meal.
For you beginners out there, these are simple, easy ingredients. But the more you research, the more you're going to hear about nutrient-rich superfoods like mussels and tripe, chicken wings, heart, organs, and many other food groups.
Mix it all together, and you have a complete meal. You're welcome to cook the meal, you can serve it warm, or you can feed it raw. You can also package the food and freeze it for use later. This is just one example of how easy it can be to feed a fresh food meal to your dog.
Look, of course, when making these recipes, there's always a better way to do it. If you're buying things that are organic or ethically raised, genetically modified free, yes, by all means do it. But do your best. Whatever you can do that can get you closest to making something ideal, that's the most important thing, is at least starting somewhere. We all need a starting point.
Hey, Dr. Becker, what if we get a puppy recipe?
Absolutely, and one for cats too.
Oh, good dog.
Optimal nutrition for dogs and cats. Dogs and cats need quality protein, fats, and a small amount of vegetables and fruits. Roughage. Vegetables and fruits provide antioxidants and fiber to animals that no longer hunt whole prey. Natural sources of trace minerals, vitamins, and fatty acids must be added, since the soils in which foods are grown are depleted of many of the nutrients pets need. Also, food storage, whether it's in a freezer or a pantry, decreases critical, essential fatty acid levels in foods. Pets need unadulterated, fresh, whole foods that are moisture dense. They don't need excess grains, fillers, artificial preservatives, colors, additives, chemicals, byproducts, or processed foods. Although animals can eat some processed foods, they aren't designed to consume a lifetime of dry or canned diets. Secret number 3, reliable information from food sources who research. That's right, Carnivora. As a result of our commitment and experience, we have successfully supported thousands of pet owners across Canada and around the world. It's extremely gratifying to hear from people that are amazed, thrilled, and committed to feeding this way. We've seen so many dogs return to health or vastly improve their health, and we know that a fresh food diet will help keep them that way. Over the years, we've prepared and trialed many variations of natural diets. Some were learning experiences, and others were just too complicated. With Carnivora, we decided we didn't want to be like other pet food companies and use industry byproducts, and we didn't want to follow the pet food industry standards by using a recipe or formulation based on nutritional assumptions or science. Instead, we wanted to provide a diet that contained every valuable nutrient available in the neat package of a whole animal. We felt it was important that people not only feed a diet based on a variety of whole animals, but a diet that was tailored toward their dog as an individual. We wanted foods that came from naturally raised, hormone and antibiotic-free sources. We wanted to know exactly what the animals we were feeding to our dogs and yours were being fed and how they were raised. The supplements. When the 2 pups came up lame, we decided to bring in the supplements because we thought the alternative would be to put them down. Inside 10 days of using these supplements, Those dogs were walking, healthy as a horse, could not tell that they had even gone lame in the back end right after the shots. I'm a believer. To supplement or not to supplement is a long-standing question among pet owners. Why supplement your pet's diet? While it is commonly agreed that food is the best source for nutrients, a wholesome raw diet does not necessarily mean that your pet is getting optimal amounts of the nutrients he or she needs. When nutrients are not present in the soil, they cannot be present in foods. Plants take up nutrients from the soil, grazing or browsing animals get their nutrients from the plants, and carnivores obtain their nutrient requirements from both the plants and the animals they consume. Healthy bodies are connected to healthy soil. If any element is inadequate in the soil, it will also be inadequate in the foods your pet eats, and he or she may not be properly nourished. Unfortunately, modern methods of agriculture are not only depleting the soil of precious minerals, they are also destroying the ability of plants to be able to utilize these elements. Consequently, food is often nutritionally deficient right from the start. Whole foods have nutritional benefits you can't find in a pill. Whole foods are complex, meaning they contain a variety of the nutrients your dog or cat needs, not just one. For example, raw, meaty bones supply calcium, but also phosphorus, magnesium, and other nutrients. A calcium supplement may lack these other nutrients. If you give your pet only calcium supplements and skip raw, meaty bones, you might be shortchanging him or her on all the other nutrients needed for a healthy skeletal system. Secret number 4. CBD hemp oil for pets. Knowledgeable, reputable CBD oil suppliers in Canada, the US, and the UK. In Canada, our picks were CBD Oil Canada and CBD Pet. For the US, we chose New Leaf Naturals and Medterra. In the UK, where they have very strict laws, we found the Drug Dot store, and under that, CB Distillery, and all of these have great reputations, very reputable, and have been around for a while. CBD oil can be made using alcohol to render it, or it can be extracted. Ideal solutions are CBD isolate CO2 extracted from hemp, infused in extra refined MCT oil from coconut with no added flavors, intended for animal use only. Excellent for hormones, pet arthritis, injury-related discomfort, or separation anxiety, as well as a number of health issues, including excessive growth spurts in puppies. Full spectrum is recommended to benefit from the entourage effect, which means adding a tiny amount of THC to the CBD. In this past hour, would you agree it's been time well invested so far? Unfortunately, there's a lot to cover, and we won't be able to cover everything in just 1 hour. You basically have 2 options moving forward. Option number 1, go at it completely alone. Prolonging the inevitable, hoping for the best, is like saying, won't happen to me, until it does. Then you scramble for answers almost too late to change anything. You waste time and money searching for answers through the customary veterinary resources, pharmaceuticals, such as Medicam, which causes more liver harm over time and use, only to find the same outcome. Your pet deteriorates quickly and dies anyway. Not using independent research studies to change the outcome of your pet's life by simply changing their diet to a more species appropriate might be thought negligent. Believe in brand loyalty and pet food manufacturers that are regulated by their own people, APCO, and aren't providing honest information to pet parents for the sake of commercial pet food sales, and why they tell you it's the only choice of food? Spend thousands of dollars in vet bills, wondering how your pet could get this sick this fast, getting frustrated and wasting the next few months or years of your life and theirs, all because you didn't change their diet to something that wasn't processed but more natural, like it was before commercial pet food companies started telling you their bagged kibble was your only option to feed your pets, when we know that simply isn't true at all. In fact, it has become the opposite. Regulators aren't forthcoming. Kibble is causing cancers. Pets are dying in record numbers. Option number 2 is a no-brainer. Learn proven systems from people who have not just done it, but actually mastered it. They are the best in their field at it and have proven it works from their experience and their own independent studies. The commercial pet food regulators did not want you to see. They want to help you learn about it to help you save your pet so they live longer, healthier lives for you both. Now, if you're focused in terms of results and speed, the smart option will be to go with option 2 and decide to work with me and use these sources referenced by me and cut your time by at least half while saving the lives of your pets and thousands of dollars in vet bills in the process, while you gain peace of mind. Question: what is your experience with switching to a raw and whole food diet for dogs? Answer: John Snyder, 50 plus years owning and training dogs, dog clubs, AKCs, CGC evaluator. Great muscle in the dogs and few if any health problems. My dog's teeth were pearl white till they died at the ages of 12 and a half and 13. I transitioned 2 rescue dogs to it also, and their teeth were clean within 3 weeks. Real health results. That's Cooch and Kayla out behind our place running around. Question: what is your experience with switching to a raw and whole food diet for dogs? Answer: Lisa Siza, research and development technician, bachelor degree, animal science and animal nutrition, University of Nebraska, Lincoln. I switched my Chihuahua to raw roughly 3 years ago. I gradually switched her over 1 week, and within a few months her coat became much softer, the weight began to shrink, and her energy was boundless. She's 7 now and has the same level of energy as her 2-year-old self. If a raw diet is done either with a nutritionist or using a complete and balanced raw, frozen, freeze-dried diet, I believe it is extremely beneficial to the health of the dog long term. The cost is definitely a hurdle, depending on the size of the dog, but even adding raw seems to make a difference as well. Overall, she has clean teeth, good musculature, bright eyes, soft coat, small poops, and high energy. Definitely advocate for raw feeding. And during this webinar, I'm going to offer a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, something so special that I haven't seen anyone else offer this before. I am opening up my Real Food for Pets coaching program and have opportunity for a few applicants to learn from me directly. So what does it mean to join my Real Food for Pets coaching program? You will be able to work with me one-on-one to learn about the raw and whole food for pets meal plans, learn about the healing effects of the right foods, learn how to find reputable food and supplement sources near you, learn how to create your own meal plans from our trusted sources, learn how to find a holistic vet with non-pharmaceutical solutions. You will master your fears about what to feed your pet, who to trust, and why. I want to be clear, this is by application only. This coaching is designed to be a very extensive, educational, information, and results-focused food plan program. We no longer work with clients that aren't serious about their pet food plan or aren't really committed to changing to a species-appropriate pet food diet and one-on-one transition assistance and coaching. We get real food for healthy pets results. And that's one of Kayla's and Cooch's pups. So if this sounds like something you're interested in and you want to help your pets live longer with less disease, end-of-life vet bills, and heartache, then certainly join our coaching program, glean our knowledge base, and enjoy our encouraging support as you embark on learning this new pet health journey. Unlike other webinars, there is no product that you can purchase right now. You can keep your money. This is by application only. We are no longer working with clients that aren't serious, committed, and coachable. I want to actually have a real one-on-one conversation with you and see if I can help you, and this is an extremely easy process. We'll talk for roughly 30 minutes. We'll analyze your current situation and map out an action plan for you to follow so that you can be confident while you are undertaking this transition without feeling like you're all alone or left to go it on your own. And this call will probably be the most valuable 30 minutes you spend working on your pet's health food plan this entire year. This is not a high-pressure sales call. I will assess your situation, and if you turn out to be a good fit, maybe I can help you. If you're not serious about changing your pet's health by making whole food diet changes, please do not apply. However, if the guilty conscience gets you going, book your mentor call now. RealFoodForPetsCoaching.com. There are thousands of people going through this webinar, but there are very limited spots available for our Real Food for Pets coaching program. This is not for pet parents that are afraid to invest in their pet's health, their food source plan, or holistic vet advice. RealFoodForPetsCoaching.com. The reason I'm offering a special personal experience with the Real Food for Pets coaching program is that I'm looking for as many success stories and testimonials as possible before we start selling this on the market. RealFoodForPetsCoaching.com. You will only get this bonus, Fresh Food for Pets List 2020, and our Healthy Pups Whole Food Meal Plan Starter Guide if you book right now during this training. If you decide to do this in the future, you will only get access to the training. You will not get the bonus resources from the Fresh Food for Pets List 2020 and our Healthy Pups Whole Food Meal Plan Starter Guide. Here's what we will do on the call. Identify the issues keeping you from changing your current food plan. Map out how to confidently implement a raw and whole food meal plan. Find local, reputable suppliers of raw foods and basic supplements. And if it makes sense to work together, we'll show you how we can help. My sole purpose, my goal, my focus, my mission statement is to help you feel confident and get your desired healthy food results. Nothing else matters. So book your mentor call now. RealFoodForPetsCoaching.com. Thousands of people going through this webinar, but very limited spots available for the Real Food for Pets coaching program. Question: what is your experience with switching to a raw and whole food diet for dogs? Felix Castro studied at University of New Orleans. I've been feeding my dogs a balanced raw diet for the past 3 years, and they are all thriving. One of my dogs used to get ear infections and frequent hot spots. After switching him to raw at 9 months of age, he hasn't had to see the vet for anything more than annual checkups and shots. My other dog was bred by a lady who wrote a book on raw diets and has only ever eaten a raw diet. My third dog is 13. Before switching to raw, I had a hard time getting him to lose weight. He's at a healthy weight now. All of my dogs are healthy, have nice coats, are energetic and playful. The key to doing it right is to educate yourself regarding the raw diet and feed a variety of foods. Balance is important, especially the calcium to phosphorus ratio. I would recommend Dr. Lou Olson's book, Raw and Natural Nutrition for Dogs. There's a lot more to it than just giving your dog some meat. This Real Food for Pets coaching program will share with you the benefits of this world-class training, will give you mentorship and direction to boost your confidence, will assist you with utilizing all the tools, and will help you find the local resources you will need to become competently active in your pet's health and vitality. There is an easy 3-step process. Step 1, go to RealFoodForPetsCoaching.com. Step 2, book an available time. Step 3, you're good to go. Be prepared for our call. Question: what is your experience with switching to a raw and whole food diet for dogs? Jennifer Evans answers. They got massively healthier, happier, and more energetic. Their coats became more shiny, soft, and full. They no longer had big smelly feces. They all enjoyed mealtime so much more and fully finished their meals. Dogs who needed to lose weight lost it and finally got to an ideal weight, and their teeth became clean and white. Book your mentor call now. RealFoodForPetsCoaching.com. That website again, as thousands are viewing this webinar right now, but limited spots available for the Real Food for Pets coaching program. Remember, you will only get the Fresh Food for Pets List 2020 and our Healthy Pups Whole Food Meal Plan Starter Guide if you book right now during this training. Dogs that are already on a raw and whole food diet didn't have to switch to it. Ryan M., Mexico. Let's be very clear on a few things. It doesn't matter what age you are. Your experience does not matter. Everybody eats. It's what we choose to eat that nourishes us. Are we making informed choices? All that is required to ensure your success is that you are coachable, committed, willing to take action, and have a deep burning desire to adopt healthy pet food choices. So book your mentor call now. RealFoodForPetsCoaching.com. There are thousands of people going through this webinar, and there are very limited spots available for the Real Food for Pets coaching program. Again, very limited spots available for our Real Food for Pets coaching program. My new puppy's chances of optimal health are better from not ever having eaten bagged kibble yet. Sarah L., New Zealand. Let's recap. My tried and true resources: Truth About Pet Food, Dr. Karen Becker of the Dog Cancer Series, Dr. Mercola's Healthy Pets, Rodney Habib and Planet Paws, Carnivora Supplements, and CBD Oil for Pets. Let's do our Q&A. How do I start feeding my dogs a raw diet? Begin with consulting a holistic veterinary nutritionist for guidelines concerning transitioning a dog or cat from a kibble diet onto a raw and whole foods diet. Supplements will be required due to some food being depleted of nutrients that used to be in the soil or was removed from processing or cooking. Try to find the most suitable foods for your dog, and local suppliers are fresher options. Do utilize the Fresh Foods List for Pets 2020 that was given as a free resource with this webinar. What is the simplest way to transition your dog from kibble to a raw and whole food diet? Paying attention to quantities given initially will prevent stomach upsets if you add smaller portions to existing foods already given and then gradually increase the new food and decrease the previous food source servings. I began with the same system I used to introduce my children to solid foods when they were infants, by giving sample portions once a day until I decided it had no detrimental effect on their digestion or well-being. I increased the sample daily and added a new food once every few days until they were wholly on the new diet, while decreasing the previous ingredients proportionately as the days went by. I cooked hamburger, long grain rice, added fruits and veggies such as oranges or bananas and broccoli. I added calculated portions of crushed raw meat with bone and organs in it, and tripe, to a calculated serving size of this mixture. I then added supplements as per the directions according to the weight of the animal to complete the balance. How soon after switching my dog to a raw food diet will I see results? Results have become apparent as soon as the next day, and most noticeable after 3 weeks of regular feeding. Some people give up because they feel they didn't notice any change at all. I believe they didn't give it enough time, or they didn't have the proper diet, or servings calculations that are involved to create a whole balanced diet. I certainly did not get it right the first few times, but after persevering and trial and corrections, all turned out well, and the knowledge will never leave me, just like riding a bike, or learning to drive a car, or typing. As always, consult a trustworthy, holistic veterinary nutritionist for the best and most accurate advice before beginning any new food regimen. Which meat is better for dogs, raw or cooked? There are plenty of opinions on this, and each swings on their own side of the fence. Best practices: avoid salmonella, listeria, E. coli, and bacterial contaminations by keeping hands and work surfaces clean. Use fresh ingredients and clean utensils. If pet refuses or has difficulty eating raw, you can cook, bake, grill, or steam it. Some raw meat ingredients, like the tubes of crushed meat with bone and organ, can be cooked before feeding. Not every pet can adjust to a raw-fed diet, and some will prefer to have simple homemade foods instead. Just like your kids, you will need to try a few things to settle on the variety that will be optimal for your pet. Is it expensive to feed your dog a raw diet? My best advice here is, how much does it cost to feed your kids? Expensive, right? No different than adding your pet kids to the food budget. Pretty much the same food, except for preparation. I don't see parents serving their kids raw meats unless it's sushi. Lastly, depends on the size of the pet and how involved you are in the servings from the whole food system. One large dog would eat somewhat the same amount of food as a teenager, except you could control the feeding frequency and they don't have access to the cupboards as a teenager would. That, in my opinion, would make it cheaper to feed a large dog than a teenager. I want to start my dog on a raw diet. What are some meals I can make? If you've gotten this far in the webinar, you are definitely ready to sign in for the free Real Food for Pets Meal Plan Starter Guide and the Fresh Food for Pets List 2020. Please enjoy these free resources and thank you for attending this webinar. Wouldn't the benefit of coaching for the first 60 days be worth having someone to answer your diet questions when you first start your transition and something you didn't expect occurs? Chances are we've seen it before and know how to help you progress through this phase of the change. Book your mentor call now. One final call to action. Book your spot now for our Real Food for Pets coaching program. And we thank you for attending our webinar.